Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to Arts Builds Friday Community Zoom. We're so glad that you could join us this morning, and we have a great lineup of speakers. And before we get started, I just wanted to make a few announcements. The first thing I will let you all know is that we are still accepting applications for the Arts Builds Communities grant program through the Tennessee Arts Commission. I'm going to plug the link to that in the chat box. Another reminder as far as grant making is that we are still accepting grant applications for our Community Cultural Connections grant program. And that program, you can apply to up to $2,000 worth of funding. I'm going to plug that in the chat as well. So still available grant funds through the Tennessee's Arts Commission's Arts Builds Communities grant. The titles are a little bit similar. And so that funding is up to $3,500 worth of funding. And there's more details on their website. And then for Arts Build as well for our Community Cultural Connections grant. So please take advantage of those opportunities. And as usual, I am available for any questions and can walk you through our grant making process. I would also like to remind everyone, as we do in all of our emails, because we're still looking for feedback in the Americans for the Arts COVID Impact Survey. As I have mentioned, that helps us in gathering information and also continuing to provide recovery efforts and resources for the local arts community. So if you know anyone, any artists, any arts organizations, please encourage them to please take the survey. So those are the main announcements that I have. And our first speaker is just joining us. So I'm just going to give a second for her to come on, and then I'll introduce her. So today we are joined first up with Kelly Curtin. She's the director of programs and events with Green Spaces Chattanooga. And she's here to talk to us about how they partnered with South Face Institute based out of Atlanta. And they've been coordinating their Good Use Grant program locally here. And it's a grant program to provide matching funds for necessary efficiency upgrades. And she'll tell you more about that. But that's something that Arts Build is focusing on as well. We are in the process of applying for this grant and working on environmental sustainability within our building. It's part of our strategic plan. So we encourage you all to start thinking about those kinds of things, and hopefully Kelly can provide you with more information and connect you with the right resources to start making those kinds of additions and changes within your arts organization. So without ado, Kelly, if you want to take over and please share about the Good Use Grant and Green Spaces.
For sure. I have just a few visuals. Can I share my screen? Am I able to do that? Okay, great.
Go ahead.
Let me figure this out. Okay. So, sorry, I was slightly late. I was waiting to be let in, and these Zoom calls can always be tricky. So I'm Kelly Curtin. I'm the director of programs and events at Green Spaces. And if you're unfamiliar with Green Spaces, we are located right on the south side of Chattanooga, right on Main Street. You can kind of see our building right here. I'm going to go into present mode if I can remember how to do this. Guys, help me out.
On the right side at the top.
Okay, thank you. There we go. It's hidden by my screen. So we are a nonprofit. So we focus really on all forms of sustainability in Chattanooga, whether it's building, whether it's working, and a lot with the community in trying to help low income neighborhoods with energy efficiency as far as their homes, and then also with workforce development. So we have a lot of programming. Now, one of those programs that I'm going to talk about here is the Green Light program, and that is our green business certification. So if your organization is interested in me leading you through kind of a sustainability journey and figuring out how we can minimize your impacts, save you some money, and really help the community, I'd be happy to help with this certification process. So we do look at the triple bottom line of a business, which is people, planet, and profits. So we really want to focus on ways that benefit your organization while also benefiting both the environment and your surrounding area. So Greenlight is an offer that we have, one of our programs. These are some of the participating businesses, either going through the program or certified. So you might see some recognizable businesses on there. River City Company, Dawn will be speaking in a little bit, is one of those participants. And so we have a really broad stretch of participating organizations. And we'd love to get more communities or organizations in the arts world involved, because you have such an impact in our area, and we really think we could do some creative things with sustainability and the arts. So this is just, it's a little pixelated, I apologize, a sample of what that checklist looks like for the Greenlight program. And one of those elements that we look at in the Greenlight program is efficiencies. So we're looking at energy and water efficiencies. And that leads us into what I was going to share with you today is about a grant opportunity through South Face Institute in Atlanta, Georgia. So their good use grant is focused just on that. So it would be the energy and water segment of the Greenlight program. And so what this grant kind of came about was noticing that nonprofits usually are in older buildings. Their budgets are very, very tight, but they have so much opportunity for efficiency upgrades and updates to help really reinvest that money. So saving on your energy bill, saving on your water bill, you can then reinvest those funds into your very important programming. And so this grant came about a couple of years ago to help in that process and provide some additional resources for nonprofits specifically. And we are not the actual administrators of this grant, but we are doing local outreach and getting the word out and helping with both applications and kind of the pre-application process. And I'll kind of go into that for you in a second. So the good use grant, again, like I said, it covers efficiency upgrades or updates to your building. And you don't have to necessarily, if you're looking at your building and saying, I have no idea where to start, that is where we come in and we help you look at the options. And so in order to be eligible for this good use grant, you have to be a 501c3. And a key element here is you have to own your building or have a long-term lease of at least 5 years. Religious organizations are also eligible, but there's a kind of a caveat of the space designation. Another bullet point that I will add to this eligibility requirement is that they want to see 2 years of financials. So if you're a new organization, this might not be a great fit for you, but if you've been established for a few years, this is definitely a great option to help minimize your costs. And then number 2 here is the match requirement for good use grant. So this is a match. If your organization is under $1 million in annual revenue, then or your operating budget, then it is a 2-to-1 match. So you would have to put in basically 33% of that funding, and you would get double that back covered from the good use grant. And then if you're above the $1 million mark, it goes to a 1-to-1 match. Now, for a nonprofit, especially a small one, Green Spaces is one as well, we totally understand the kind of the challenges of raising funding. So for this grant specifically, your matching money funds can come from an in-kind donation. It can come from an in-kind donation of money. It can come from an in-kind donation of services. It can come from a fundraising effort. It can come from additional financing. So there's a wonderful organization that is opening a Chattanooga office here called the Pathway Lending, and they have energy efficiency grants specifically for small businesses. And so these grants are about a 2% interest rate. So I mean, you can almost be net positive on your efficiency updates and your savings as far as your interest rate for this loan. So there's lots of different financing options, but also really creative ways where you can come up with that match. And so don't be overwhelmed if you see that dollar amount and say, there's no way we can raise $15,000 or $60,000. There's really great ways that you can come up with the money for that. And we are here to help you with that. So locally, we've had many more organizations than this participate in the Good Use Grant, but just kind of right off the top of my head, the Creative Discovery Museum just had all of their windows redone. So that is a huge money saver for them as far as weatherization of the building. So that's an option. Obviously, that's on the higher end of the pay rate, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not something that is applicable to your organization. Another one is the First Baptist Church. They had something small, which is low flow fixtures put in all their restrooms. So that's going to take their per gallon flush rate from about 3 to 1.2 gallons per flush. So that's going to save them a ton on their water and sewer bills. Reflection Writing had some weatherization done on their buildings. We actually used Green Spaces work team to complete a lot of that weatherization. So it was a nice kind of culmination of efforts of organizations to do that. So these are some examples of what you can do with the Good Use Grant funds. Other examples include lighting retrofits. Let's say you have those old fluorescent bulbs and you would like to get LED efficient lighting. That is an option. If you need a new HVAC system, if you need a new boiler, really the opportunities are endless as long as it's a positive impact on your efficiency. So whether that's energy or water. And again, like I said, you do not have to have that information top of mind. The process that we're going through right now with the Good Use Grant is that we've partnered with EPV to do an initial audit of your building completely free. And they will help us work with us to kind of streamline your application to figure out what would meet Southface's needs as far as the grant is concerned, and then what would be the most quick of a turnaround for your ROI, your return on investment. So we can help you figure that stuff out. You don't have to have those answers right away. We'll help in that process for your application specifically. And so that kind of sums up, that was very brief, but I'll open it up, I guess, to questions if you guys have any. This is my contact information. Again, please reach out. I will help you through this process and get you the right contacts if you're interested in doing any sort of efficiency work on your buildings themselves. The next deadline for the grant is not until September 24th, but it would be advisable to get ahead of getting your audit done and working with us and the Southface grant administrator to figure out a best use for the funding. The website is right there, southface.org. It's under the Good Use Grant. And again, we are not the administrators, we're just helping out with this because it's such a great opportunity for nonprofits. And we'd love to get more arts organizations involved.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Of course.
And yeah, thanks for your help with our application as well. Is there any questions? Joy, I see you unmuted. Yeah, go ahead.
Is this an annual thing? Because you said places in Chattanooga have gotten it in the past. So like if we didn't have anything for this year, but we wanted to connect and plan for applying next September 2022.
So this is a limited fund that
okay.
is supplying the Good Use Grant. I don't, you know what, that is a great question. I know it's at least going through one more full calendar year of funding. And it is good to say that there are rounds of funding. So the next deadline is the 24th, but then the next deadline after that is let's see, I'm on the website right now, is February 4th of 2022. And so there is an opportunity for multiple rounds of funding as well. So let's say you have a pretty big project and it doesn't fall under those guidelines as far as, let's say it's over $120,000. Well, you can do multiple rounds of funding to cover those projects. Just reapply for the next round. So yes, it will go on past there. Per my conversation with South Base, they're going to try to continue this through alternate funding in the future. So I would be confident in saying, yes, this program will continue, but there's at least 2 more rounds of funding available.
Any other questions?
And I'll put my contact email in the chat as well.
Thank you.
So please reach out. We're happy to help. And not only with the Good Use Grant, but if you have any specific questions or general questions about your sustainability in your organization, that's what we're here for.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And we'll
Yeah.
also send a follow-up with your information and a recording of this as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, up next we have, excuse me, Jeff Breer, or Bear. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. And he's the CEO of the Tennessee Environmental Council, and he's here to share about their wonderful resources and programs that their organization supports. I will mention that if you guys participated in the Tennessee Tree Day planting, this is the organization that we partnered with to provide the amazing trees that you all planted in your yards. So Jeff, if you want to take over.
Thank you, Miriam. And also I saw in Kelly's presentation a moment ago, the Reflection Riding Center was one of the pictured, and that was also one of our tree locations in Hamilton County. Yeah, my name is Jeffrey Berry. I am CEO of Tennessee Environmental Council. I've been CEO going on 2 years, and I've been with Tennessee Environmental Council for 7.5. I grew up in Los Angeles, and even though I had very politically conservative parents, we recycled and we composted since the 1980s. And I recycled since it was my first paying job. My dad would take us down and collect aluminum cans on the beaches of Southern California. And we loved it. It's like, wow, every can was like it's like finding a quarter on the ground, at least it sounded like that to a kid. We didn't get that much back for the cans, but we would take them to the recycling center and make some money as kids. And my dad supported us in that. And so I grew up with this ethic of these are resources that people are throwing on the ground or in the trash. They're not just trash. So, and I love your mission, by the way, of building a stronger community through the arts. And I like to look at from an artistic perspective. My daughters are both very artistic. My ex-wife is an artist, and my daughter's actually in an arts program right now, the Governor's School for the Arts, for 3 weeks at MTSU. And so I like to look at this work of taking care of the environment as an artistic endeavor. And I'm going to flip through some slides for you as well, and I'll show you a few different things. If I can go ahead and share my screen. It looks like I have the permission. So, and I don't know how much time you're going to let me present, but I'll keep it as brief as possible. I won't do the full presentation, but I love this quote by Doug Tellamy, who wrote Bringing Nature Home, that because it is us who decide what plants will grow in our gardens, the responsibility for our nation's biodiversity lies largely with us. And Douglas Tellamy, Bringing Nature Home. So that's a big part of the work we do with Tennessee Environmental Council. That's why we do Tennessee Tree Day, that offering those trees to every community in Tennessee, because the landscape is our canvas. And I've been through the Chattanooga recycling guidelines. I'll get to that in momentarily. But we focus on this taking care of our environment from home. And we've created a number of programs where you can take it home. And when I drive around, literally doing this work, I look at every little patch of grass I see. squeezed between buildings, in between sidewalks and people's front yards and backyards. I see, hey, that's a potential pollinator habitat right there. You know, what about turning our lawns into habitats, at least part of them, not the whole thing. So I'll flip through. I won't do the full presentation like I said, but it is an honor to work for an organization that's part of Tennessee's history, founded in 1970. And we focus on thriving habitats, circular economy, and climate balance. That's what we're working towards every day with our staff. And we have created these programs, pardon the 111, it should be 1, 2, 3, but you know, pick one and get started there. But I am going to offer these as opportunities that you can sign up for right now as I'm doing this presentation at our website. Generate some buzz, where you pick a part of your lawn and turn it into a pollinator habitat, a garden with beautiful flowers. You know, the lawn is our canvas, but then the flowers are the natural sculptures that emerge, and we turn our communities into artwork in a natural way. And so Compost Your Compost is turning your food waste through backyard composting into topsoil, healthy soil. Those resources are so important and so full of nutrients. The things we're throwing away, like up to about 30% of all the trash we throw away in our landfills is food waste and organic matter that could be composted. You know, we could be replenishing our soils instead of filling up landfills. And of course, Recycle Tennessee, instilling proper recycling behaviors, because if you recycle incorrectly, it contaminates the system, and the things you think are being recycled end up going to landfill. And when we do that in a massive scale, it does hamper the entire recycling infrastructure. So I'm always asking you directly, are you recycling? Are you composting? Would you please consider starting those things if you're not already, or even stepping up your game a little bit? Have you planted a pollinator habitat? You can do a window box. If you don't have a front lawn, you could do a box in front of your window. It's easy, anybody can do this. So I'm just going to flip through. You know, pollinators have been on the decline for decades. And there's my artistic carving of my first pollinator habitat there in my front yard. I'm looking at it right now, and it looks radically different now. It's like grown, and this was 3 years ago, and it's full of life now with all sorts of pollinator plants and species. And then, of course, I do see the occasional hummingbird show up, but the butterflies and the bees, we can all give back to nature really easily, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, if any, to do a lot of these things. So we created programs to enable people to do these things and make it easy and fun, and create communities around this. And I'm amazed at the over 1,000 compost enthusiasts that are now in our Compost Your Compost Facebook group, sharing their food scrap pictures and then their finished compost pictures. You know, in Middle Tennessee, I don't know how the landfill situation is down there in Chattanooga, but up here, we have Middle Point Landfill, which has about 6 more years of capacity. And we could probably double or triple that 6 years simply by stepping up our recycling and our composting. And it could be done literally overnight if we chose to do that. And then we won't have to find another place to put more trash in the ground. Unless you're considering doing it through your compost in your backyard. We set out to find 1,000 people in Tennessee to compost their food scraps. And we set a goal of 60 tons in the first year. And we are now up to 85 tons composted through our network of composters in their backyards. We didn't actually put it in one giant pile, but I did go find a local pile of compost at our local composting company. So I could represent what does 60 tons of compost look like? Well, it looks like that right behind me in that picture. And so recycling, again, is another thing that you have, curbside recycling. If you haven't signed up for curbside, you can do so. I'll show you the website on the Chattanooga City Services webpage. But that's right. This picture here is a healthy, a healthy recycle cart. It's clean. There's no food contamination in there. The materials in here are all recyclable in the local system. They're not bagged. They're loose. So this is a nice, clean, doing it right sort of recycling cart. When you bag your recyclables, when the recyclables arrive at the line where there are actually workers sifting through by hand, they'll take that bag off and put it in the landfill. So don't bag your recyclables. In Nashville, again, I'm going to use our statistic up here because I'm not sure what your rates are down there, but almost half of our recycling carts are contaminated, have materials that cannot be recycled in the infrastructure. So we have a lot of room to grow and improve here. And across Tennessee, we are number 47 in recycling participation out of all the 50 states. So that's why we are dedicated to, I mean, we've got to get these basics of the environment right. I mean, if we can recycle correctly and compost and establish pollinator habitats on a large scale, then I think the bigger picture problems of microplastics in the Tennessee River or global warming, those will sort of naturally take care of themselves. You know, we've got to get the basics down, and these are the things that are within reach every day. We're all creating trash every day, so we all have the potential and the power to do it right and participate. So we have this cart scan thing, and I would love for you all to participate. If you want, I'll put my email address on there and also the registration or our website in the chat momentarily. But if you want to send us a picture of your recycling cart, and we'll do a customized or personalized analysis of what we see in the picture. And if there's anything we see that's not recyclable, we'll let you know. You can send us a picture of your trash cart, and if we can let you know if there are things that can be recycled. So it is a personalized, private sort of consultation we'll do. You just email the pictures to us, and we will let you know. Here are a couple things you can do, and it's on our website, tectn.org/recycleright. Now, you could go ahead and do Nashville if you want, but we will customize it for your Chattanooga recycling guidelines. Just click on that remote recycling scan. We do a lot of field volunteer events and improving creeks around Middle Tennessee, as you all have participated in. Thank you so much for participating in Tennessee Tree Day. It's only possible because people across the state are enthusiastic about the power of trees, the beauty of trees, and the joy of planting them. And by the way, this is something you all could do locally as well to support your local nonprofit organizations. If you haven't already earmarked your Kroger reward points, your community rewards points, you can support local nonprofits or Tennessee Environmental Council. But every time you shop at the grocery store, you can earmark points to support local nonprofits. That doesn't cost you a single thing. So I just want to give you that quick overview of our programs. Here's my contact info if you'd like to reach out. And I'm going to stop my share here now. And there's one more thing before I stop the share. I want to go over and show you the local guidelines, because it is important to review the local guidelines as much as possible. So here's your Chattanooga Public Works website, and I clicked on recycling. Of course, you can, if you don't already have curbside, you can sign up for it here. But here are some basic guidelines. Do not bag recyclables. And it says with the exception of shredded paper and loose paper. I'm not sure why one would bag those things, but I think if you keep things loose, generally it's going to be better. And glass is not accepted. It's a contaminant. Unfortunately, it's very recyclable, but you can, not in your curbside cart. You can take it to one of the recycle centers around town. Break down your cardboard boxes because it takes up less space, and it improves the efficiency of the whole system in the recycling system if you break those cardboard boxes down. And don't put just rinse out those containers before you put them in your recycling cart so it's clean in there. So it's really nasty. I've sorted through people's plastics that say they're recycling aficionados, and they left some food in there, and it gets nasty real fast, as you know, as we all know. So here are the acceptable materials in your curbside recycling in Chattanooga. Clean paper. Don't put the cheesy portion of the pizza box in your recycling. You can actually shred that and compost it, but only the clean cardboard you can put in your curbside. Flatten it, of course. All these containers are cardboard and recyclable in your curbside in Chattanooga. Paper containers, newspapers. God, remember the old church newspaper recycling drives? Did you ever participate in those? I did when I was a kid. We collected all our newspapers and took them to by the hundreds of pounds to the church for recycling, and they made money that way too. Plastic containers like these are acceptable, and you're lucky. Even these down here, by the way, you have twice a month pickup in Chattanooga. We only have once a month in Nashville, so we got to catch up with y'all. And here are the containers that are accepted, which is great because we don't, Nashville doesn't even accept these kind of cups and clamshells and yogurt containers, but you do down there in Chattanooga. And then these kind of metal containers. Metal is very recyclable and it's a high value material, but make sure they're clean, rinse them out always. And no paint cans. Those are not recyclable because the paint is a contaminant. But do not put clothes in there, food, large toys, plastic bags, yard waste, or glass. So there you go. If you ever need that refresher, visit the website. Make sure you're keeping it clean because that keeps the whole system working well. But I would love to have your participation in our programs. I'll go ahead and stop the sharing here and put in our website if you want to go ahead and sign up for the pollinator program and just get on our email list so we can let you know when the next opportunity comes up. And we'd love to expand our presence and work with you all more in Chattanooga over in the future, more and more. I love the vibe of your city. It is great. And I'm feeling it right now as we're having this virtual conversation. So thank you for having me here with you today.
Thank you, Jeff, for joining us as well. Thanks for this wonderful information. It was great as far as like the refresher on recycling and that page. I didn't know that was a resource for us to take a look at. We'll definitely be sharing this information. Does anyone have any questions for Jeff?
No, but I have a couple of comments just following up on what he said locally, resource wise. We do have commercial composting available for businesses and for personal use home. There's two companies locally called Compost House and New Terra, if you're interested in outsourcing that. They're very affordable. And also, yeah, the recycling centers, I'll just echo what he said. That's a great resource. The city's website, they also have, if you have curbside recycling, the magnet. I can send around that image, so it's kind of more of a one location place where you can see everything that's recyclable in Chattanooga, and you guys can print that out for your individual organization. So I'll send that to you so you can have that and you can distribute.
Thank you, Kelly. Well, I had a question for you, Jeff, as far as recycling. I always question like the containers that have stickers on them.
Yep.
And how that affects recycling.
Well, the
plastic
infrastructure,
ones.
Yeah, infrastructure is set up to handle stickers. And there's a process that all containers go through after so you put them in your cart or the recycling center, they go to a MRF, which is a materials recovery facility where everything is sorted into paper, plastic, and all the other materials, metals. And then they go they bale those as they are in their materials, and they go off to different manufacturing centers that where the machines that actually turn those old cans into new raw material, and the same for plastics and everything. And so those machines at that stage is where those stickers on the cans will be removed in the machines that are there designed to remove those. Yeah, so that's where it happens. So you don't have to take them off yourself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all this wonderful information. And yeah, we're definitely going to look into the pollinator garden for potentially putting on our rooftop as well. So
awesome. Yeah,
I'll definitely be in touch. All right, so we are going to switch gears, and I'm going to welcome Dawn Gelset, who is the Vice President of Marketing and Communication with River City Company. And she's going to be sharing information about the newly launched Chattanooga Express card. So Dawn, if you want to share with us about the new Chattanooga Express card, I'll welcome you on.
Thank you. So as she said, I'm Dawn Gelset. I'm the new Vice President of Marketing and Communication at River City Company. If you are not familiar with our organization, we are your Chattanooga Downtown Economic Engine nonprofit. We have been serving downtown Chattanooga for over 35 years. And so major projects, everything from the Riverfront redevelopment, Miller Park, the Majestic Theater. We've worked on so much across Chattanooga, and but I feel like today we're needed now more than ever. I'm gonna make this full screen here and just share with you about a new program that we have to help organizations and businesses recover from the pandemic. Downtown, like Chattanooga, like all metro cities, was hit hard by the pandemic. When the stay-at-home orders were released, offices had to close, and that meant a lot of the downtown businesses that rely on all of us coming to grab a coffee in the morning, lunch in the afternoon, after work cocktails, they didn't see those people as much. And so there was a strong support, and Chattanoogaans, we are giving individuals, and we did a lot to keep our favorite places open. And so as an organization, as we're continuing to welcome more people back to, as we say, their places of employment and enjoyment, we wanted to incentivize them to do it even more. And so this is the new program. In summary, it is like a downtown dollars card. It's easy to deploy because there is no hardware for businesses. We use the platform Yifty. This is in 260 other cities across the nation. So we know it is a reliable organization. Our friends up in Nashville have used this program since late 2020. It has contributed over $500,000 to their downtown businesses. And so it's because it is easy for everybody to use. There is zero progress to the businesses participating as well. That was a major question we had about taking a virtual card, was if somebody for some reason steals a card, do I get my balance? What happens? And so Yifty takes on all of the risk as well. So this is our footprint that we're serving. So River City's footprint is outlined in white, but we recognize that there was some businesses right outside of our footprint that could definitely benefit from this program. And so as long as they're in our footprint and they accept MasterCard, they can participate in the program. Our sponsors are covering costs associated with the program. And so every dollar that is spent at that business stays with the business. There is the standard MasterCard fee that is paid by the business, but that's just like if you had to take a MasterCard or a Visa or anyway. And so this is what the card looks like. It is a digital card. And so it looks just like a credit card does with 16 digits. You can print it out if you would like to, but most people just keep it on their phone. Their balance automatically updates every time they bring up their card. And so you know exactly how much is on it. And a business just keys it in like a phone call order they would, or sometimes if you use your card too much, when we used to have the strip would go bad. And so they would have to key it in. And so it's very easy for everybody to use. And so we are continuing to sign up businesses. Like I said, as long as you're in our footprint and you take MasterCard, you can be a part of this. It is attractions, retailers, and restaurants that are able to participate in the program. But we are also allowing people to buy cards. And so I'm just gonna hop over to the website a second and show you our website. So this is what it looks like when you go to ChattanoogaExpressCard.com. It's going to take you to the Yifty website that manages our account. And as I said, we are giving people money to frequent our businesses even more. And so if you buy 50, you get 100. If you buy 75, you get 25. When we launched this on the 1st, people went nuts. And they sold us out of our buy 100, get 50. We will be bringing that back for our phase 2. So just keep your eyes open. We'll be making announcements of when we bring back the buy 100, get 50. And so if you want to buy a card, you just go here and you click buy a card. It's going to tell you about your bonus funds that you get. And you simply just text it or email it to whoever you would like to give it to, or give it to yourself. We can all have treats ourselves. And so you can print it out if you do want to go old school and put it inside a card as well. We have been very busy signing up businesses. So we have over 70 participating businesses in our downtown footprint already. Our goal is to have at least 100 by the end of June. And I think that's very achievable because, again, it is free for businesses to participate. We're doing lots of marketing, lots of advertising for the program. And so if you know of a business that's not already registered, you can tell them to go to the site and they just simply click the apply to join and fill out their business information. I'll get an email. I'll just verify that they're in our footprint and they'll be able to start accepting the Chattanooga Express card. So let me jump back over to my here. So again, easy to use, easy to apply to join. For some reason. Oh, there we go. But people can also, businesses can add deals onto our website as well. And so if for instance, your community pie, maybe it's buy a full pie, get a gelato for free, that type of thing. And so you can advertise your business on our website as well. And again, just to be clear how this program works, and so we do use Yifty. So you buy your card through our platform and Yifty takes that payment. You go and spend your card at the merchant, just like a MasterCard. MasterCard pays the merchant and then Yifty pays MasterCard. And so it's seamless process for everybody. It's so easy, and just really excited to have a partner that's, we did a lot of research when we were looking to deploy this type of product, because it's a lot of money that we're pumping into our downtown. And so as you can see, this isn't just a COVID company. They've been around for a long time. And as I said, Nashville, since starting last year, they've had $500,000 put into their downtown. Detroit's had over 3 million. Smaller cities even have put a lot of money back into their downtown businesses. And so since we launched on June 1st, we've sold over $30,000 in Chattanooga Express cards. So all of that money will be going back to our downtown businesses. River City Company, we do not keep any of that money. It's 100% to our downtown businesses and helping them recover from the pandemic. So I'll put my info in the chat, but I'm happy to take questions as well.
This is wonderful, Dawn. Thank you so much for sharing this great information and this program too. Any questions for Dawn before we wrap up? No? Okay. Well, we have all of the information so folks can go on to sign up. Hopefully we have more businesses signing up and more local arts organizations. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. As usual, it's great to see your lovely faces, and we'll see you all next month. Please
Can I
apply
ask you a
for.
quick question?
Yeah, of course. Go
Thank you,
ahead.
Dawn, if can I go ahead and get a Chattanooga Express card for my next visit to Chattanooga? And I suppose outsiders are welcome too, right?
Yeah, anybody can buy one. So buy a card, come on down to Chattanooga, spend it at one of our favorite businesses.
Yay, will do. That's awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, thank you so much, Dawn. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Kelly. Your son or daughter is adorable. And thank you all for joining us this morning. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.
You.